Hello again. I'm back after a little bit of a vacation. When I left you guys last, just a little bit of an update on my last video, I was working on a 65-inch 4K X900E from Sony. This is the board out of that. And what ended up happening is that the main display chip ended up dying on this, and that's why I was outputting such weird colors and wasn't actually outputting any video. So what I ended up doing was buying a new board, because obviously I don't have a way to replace the main video chip. And actually this is the main video chip. And so I replaced the board, and I still could not get the screen to come on. I could get it to display test patterns, which means that the T-Con board was fine, but I couldn't get it to output anything. But I could hit buttons on the remote, and it was making noises, so I know that the TV was on. It just wasn't displaying anything to the picture. So what I found out is that it has two LVDS cables, one small one and one large one. And what ended up happening is that repeated plugging in and out of the large LVDS cable caused a pin to come loose on the cable. And so I actually had a replacement one, because I had a 55-inch, same model, 55-inch version, uses the same cables. Tried using that, but I noticed that also had a pin missing. So right now I'm waiting on a new LVDS cable to come, and then that TV should be 100% fixed. This isn't what I actually wanted to talk to you guys about today, though. I'm actually working on a Samsung 4K 55-inch right now that I just got in this morning, client of mine. And it is a UN55HU 6840F model. I haven't really done too much testing or looking into what the issue could be on this yet, but what it does is when you turn it on, and I'll show you this, when you turn on the TV, you plug it in. As soon as you plug it in, it comes on with a red light, steady red light. If you try to turn it on with the button on the back of the TV, what happens is that the light will start blinking. Won't make any noise, but the light will just start blinking. It'll go on, off, on, off, on, off, and then it'll just go off. And if you try and press the power button again, it'll just blink on for a millisecond. And if you keep pressing the power button over and over, it'll blink on, blink on, blink on, and every time that it blinks, it'll make a noise like the TV is on, but there's just nothing on the screen. And sometimes the screen will flash like there's something on the screen, but you can't read it because it's just a millisecond. But I'll show this to you. I don't have the back off of it yet, but I can at least show you what's going on. Switch this over. Here we go. Okay. So this is what we're working on right now. And what happens is, I might not have long enough cord for this. Okay. Let's see if I can find another power cable that's a little bit longer than that one. Let's see if this one fits in here. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so what happens is you plug it in, you can turn it on, and I can't see the LED, it's on the other side, but I'm sure it's blinking right now. And then if you keep pressing it, you can see it makes noises as though it's on, like I'm selecting things, but there's nothing on the screen. So those are the symptoms. Now we just need to take it apart and see if we can figure out what the problem is. These are really short screws. They're hard to get out. My first thought on this is power board issue because of the red flashing light. But then at the same time, it seems like the TV is on. And if it turns on, it's usually not a power board issue. Let's see. I wonder if you have to take the base off of this one, or if you can get the back off without taking the base off. Let's see, how does the back come off of this? Oh, I wonder how does the back come off of this? Oh, there's a couple more screws down here. I'm betting I have to take the base off as well. Let's just do that right away. How does that come off? Should come off now. Alright. And I believe there's 4 more screws right here. This one. Possibly right here. Alright, that should be all of the screws. Now, is this snap together or is it just... Oh, actually I see one more. One more right here. And one more right here. And I think that's it. Okay, good. It's not snapped together. So that comes off. Alright. So these are backwards to the Sony TVs. On the Sony TVs you've got the power board on this side and the main board on this side. So let's just give this a quick once over with our eyes, see if we can figure out what we're looking at here. Okay, so right off the bat I'm not seeing any bulged capacitors on the power board, which I was hoping maybe that would be the issue. I don't see anything wrong visually with the main board. It could be a T-Con issue because I did see backlight right off the bat. The little bit of reading that I have done about these Samsung TVs from around this era is that if you think you've got a power board issue, what you can do to confirm that is to unplug this connector here and see if it'll come out of there. Oh, it's taped on there, that's why. You can unplug this connector that connects the main board to it, and then what will happen is that the power board will turn on the backlight, full brightness, and if you have a backlight, you know that it's not the power board. And I can't get this connector to come out for some reason. Oh, there we go. Okay, so if that comes out, plug that back in. Let's see. Well, we had a blue light for a second and then it went out. But I didn't see anything on the backlight. Oh, okay, yep. That's what they said. I did see through the screw holes here, like this one here, I did see the backlight for half a second here. Let me see if I can show you a little better. If you watch through this screw hole here as I plug it in. Oh, that time it didn't do it. Yeah, it's not doing it now. Did it that first time. Let's try it once more. Nope. Well, maybe it is a power board then. And if it's a power board, let's see. First step is always the visual inspection of everything. If you see something burnt or something that looks cracked or anything like that, you know it's not a fuse problem because it is turning on. Well, I'm not seeing anything visually wrong with this thing. But I am pretty sure. Let me just double check once more. Take a look through those holes there. Nothing. Nothing at all. Okay. Now what happens if we plug this in? Okay, so over here on the main board we do have a blue light there. So it is getting power. Let me have for a light down here. Got no light. Okay, it's on though. Okay, it should be off now, I would think. I don't see any lights on. Okay, it's definitely on, but for some reason it's not displaying anything. And like I said, it had that flashing red light, but I can't tell if it's a red light anymore. See if I can. Okay. When you hold in the power button, the red light flashes very quickly. Alright, let's try to unplug it again. Might be hard to see here. Let me adjust this. Yeah, you probably won't be able to see the light in there, unfortunately. Well, let's see what we've got here on the power board. Okay, if we plug this back in, okay, the red light is flashing on and off about once a second. Now it's off entirely. Now if I press the power button, it just flashed for a millisecond, didn't do anything. If I press it again, it flashed for a millisecond, made a sound. If I press it again, flashes for a millisecond and doesn't make a sound. Press it once more, flashes and makes a large sound. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that it's on right now. I'm thinking that when it's flashing, when I plug it in, that's the boot up sequence maybe? Let me confirm that. Does that blue light on the main board come on as soon as I plug it in, or does it come on once it's booted? Let's see. It comes on like a second after you plug it in. I think that's just to confirm that it's getting power. Well, my first thought right now is T-Con board, because it seems like power is fine. I mean, I guess it could be the backlight circuit. It might actually be displaying an image and I just can't see it because it's too dark. Those are my first two thoughts, backlight or T-Con board. I suppose the easiest way to test is to pull out my microscope ring light and hold it up to the screen, and hopefully I can figure out whether there's anything on the screen or not. Okay, so we'll get out the ring light here. You know, I bought this microscope ring light. It's just a typical Amscope light. And I was going to use it on my microscope, but I actually didn't like it. I felt like it put out too much light, too focused. So I've never used it. It's actually just sat in its box since I bought it. But I have used it for this type of stuff before, and it actually works pretty well. Hopefully this cord is long enough. Yeah, I think I can use that. Okay, so it should be, let me just double check that this is actually on right now. Yeah, okay, it should be on, according to that. So we've got the ring light, and what we can do is we can go like this, and if we hold the ring light there, maybe we can see something. Oh, that's wishful thinking. I can't see a thing. Oh, it just flashed for a second. It said something about no connection or something. Not sure if you were able to see that, but it did flash for a second. So there is something being displayed. Okay, that's making me think it's a backlight issue then. I'm thinking it's a backlight issue. Okay, That pretty much confirms it's a backlight issue to me, that it flashed on the screen like that and then went out immediately. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to unplug all of this. This is actually a really nice design. We've only got two connectors. We've got the backlight and we've got the main board. Those are the only connectors on the whole board. Now, I'm not sure if this is an LED TV. I assume it is. It's pretty thin. When it doesn't have the back on it, it actually is pretty thin, so I assume it probably is LED. Wasn't expecting that to fall off that easily, but it most likely is an LED TV. And if it is, then what we're looking at isn't going to be as high voltage as if it was a fluorescent tube. It's still going to be relatively high voltage, probably, 60, 70 volts DC, maybe more, depending on how many LEDs there is. It's 55 inch. Could be, 120 volts DC. Just giving the board a once over one more time before I put it on the desk. There's a lot of surface mount stuff on the back. I don't see anything that looks burnt at all, so that's good. Or not. This looks a little bit suspect. It looks like there's some melted solder here on this one chip. I wonder how hot this chip gets if it's melting solder. Oh, it gets pretty hot, because, okay, here, let me see if I can show you what I'm looking at here. We've got this chip here. I don't know if you can see, but the solder joint on that side looks melted to me, and the chip is like discolored. And on the exact opposite side of the board, you've got this discoloration. So obviously that chip gets pretty hot. So that could be our issue right there. What is this? It's an ST 14NM5, I believe. I have to look at it under the microscope, it's hard to read it. I have to look up what that is, but it's possible that that's our issue. Maybe we have some solder cracking going on there. Or maybe the chip finally fried itself being that hot all the time. I'm thinking before I go and try and diagnose this on its own, I think I'm going to put this back in with just 3 or 4 screws. Because if that is getting that hot, it's going to show up on the thermal camera. Let's see what this is doing. Plug this all back together. Let me set up the thermal camera, and we'll see if that's getting as hot as I think it's getting. Let's see. I need to get another USB extension cable, unfortunately. So I do a lot of TV work, and the problem is that I have a very short USB extension, and I can't really get over to where I'm working on the TV with such a short extension, so I can't get the close-up thermal stuff, but I can get it from, you know, 1.5 feet away or so. Not too bad. Alright, so let's get the thermal set up here. Okay, so the thermal should be on now. Let me just calibrate it quick. Okay, should be calibrated. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So, thermal. Okay, so you get the thermal image over there. Now those hot spots are okay, so it's reflecting. Oh, I see, because there's no grounding, or there's no circuit board there, so it's just reflecting the metal case and making it look hot. Okay, so we'll have to take that into account. Okay, so when we plug this in, something should get hot, I would think. Let's see. Okay, I see something down there at the bottom. Oh, that's I think that's just this. Yeah, that's this heatsink. It could just be reflecting, or whatever's under that heatsink could be getting that hot. We've got a spot over here. I assume that's these coils here. Oh, we've got a spot up there. What is that? That's getting so hot. Something right here. No, that's too low. Is it these? No. Okay, it's something right here. Something right here. It's getting very hot. We've got 2 large resistors there. My guess is that's what it is. I wish I could get this a little bit closer. Let me see if I can. There we go. Okay, just to focus a little bit. Yeah, I can tell from that. It's those 2 large resistors right here that are getting hot, and they're at about 57 Celsius. Okay, what else do we have here? We've got, what is this? It's a ceramic capacitor. That's also getting hot, which is odd. I didn't think that ceramic capacitors got hot. And then whatever's under that heatsink is getting hot. Yeah, the only thing I'm really seeing is these 2 resistors here, which, being that big, they would get hot if they're pushing a lot of current through them. Okay, let's look. Let's take a. It's even further away, but take a gander at the main board here. See a couple of hot spots there. Main one would be the probably the CPU, that big spot. But I'm also seeing a small spot right above it. Right here, I'm seeing a small spot, and right here there's another small spot. So let's see what's there. We've got We've got right here, what do we have there? A coil of some kind right there. And a, looks like maybe a MOSFET or a voltage regulator. And then up here we've got another coil and either a MOSFET or a voltage regulator. Okay, so voltage regulators are probably getting hot. Okay, that's normal if they're getting voltage. So again, I'm not really seeing too much wrong here other than those two resistors getting very hot. They're up to 58 Celsius right now. Now, the next thing I could do is take the board back off of there, plug it in with nothing hooked up to it, and see if that chip on the back side of the board is getting hot. Although it doesn't look like it. If it was getting hot on the back side, I should be able to see it through the board right there. And that would be right here. Be right in this area, and it's just blue. So my guess is it's not getting hot. Okay, so I don't think the thermal camera is going to help us figure this one out, unfortunately. So, back to the good old testing. Okay, so I'm going to take the board out. I'm going to see if I can figure out what the issue is, and then I will be back.